morning. Because this is an organization that is at least partially known for your interest in prevention, I would just like to say something to prevent someone from saying something after I speak. Please do not thank me for taking time out of my busy schedule to come here today. For today, this is my schedule. Ordinarily, not as busy as this. When I was first asked to do this, I was a little hesitant, mostly because of what time this is in the morning. And also because how far away it is from Midtown. And how hard it is to get places. And the reason it is hard to get places is partially your fault, because people have forgotten the initial purpose of Planned Parenthood, which was birth control. I mean, what has medical science done in the last 20 years? They have spent most of their time, well, first Viagra, obviously the most pressing issue. The greatest medical advance. Viagra. That bane of the third wife. I mean, in my entire lifetime, which is not as brief as you might imagine, they, meaning doctors, have cured one thing: polio. Well, that was a long time ago. I mean, what are they? Doctors or writers? Viagra. And then, I forget what it's called, but it makes hair grow. Rogaine, yes. These are connected subjects, you can see. And then, I know this is going to be unpopular, this is unpopular in any place I might be, but whatever you call these things that enable people, 60-year-old women, to have babies. I know you're not allowed to say that. But perhaps first we should have made sure there was enough of everything for everyone. You know, that to me seems more important. I have friends who have had babies by these various methods. I can think of situations right off the top of my head where it has taken 4 people to have a baby. 4 people. That's a bridge game. We know how to have babies. I mean, to me that would be the last thing you do. We know how to have babies. We do not know how to do many other things. We apparently do not know how to plan parenthood, which is that perhaps some people should not plan on it. I mean, everybody complains about traffic. Where do you think it comes from? We have instead, I mean, this is just my observation because I'm not involved in either end of this situation, but it basically seems we have planned childhood instead of Planned Parenthood. So that is my interest in Planned Parenthood. Fewer people. I don't care who they are, as long as they are not here. Now, a lot has been said about politics, and because this has become an issue of abortion, and in this country, and almost only in this country, among what used to be called first world countries. I don't know what it's called now. It's called developed countries, or rich countries, or Western, whatever it's called now. You know which countries you are. Only in this country is this a political issue. In every other country, can you think of a more personal issue? I cannot. To me, it's as if the Senate gets to vote on when you get your hair cut. Well, it's my head, I think I'll decide. And it didn't used to be the case that this was a Democrat-Republican issue. I mean, when I was young, or a child, and even somewhat young, Republicans were just rich people who didn't want to pay taxes. They weren't necessarily lunatics. I mean, Malcolm Forbes, certainly no one will call Malcolm Forbes not a Republican. He was a Republican. He was a rich person who didn't want to pay taxes. And when he was alive, obviously, he wrote an editorial in Forbes supporting a woman's right to choose. Of course, the next week, a billion letters came to Forbes opposing this position, and one of the letters said, ended with what I'm sure this person thought of was as a great witticism, aren't you glad your mother didn't have an abortion? And Malcolm's reply, printed in the magazine, was just one word: usually. I mean, let's face it, that's true. When the senator was talking about health care being more expensive for women, it made me remember that when I was young enough for this to be an issue, I signed a piece of paper for my insurance company saying that I wouldn't get pregnant so that I could have a lower rate. And I didn't really think about that much at the time, because this is not a personal issue for me. But that is kind of astonishing. And I was also astonished that she said that pregnancy is considered a pre-existing medical condition, when really it's very frequently a pre-existing marriage condition. Now, whoever is in charge of this, I don't remember who it was I spoke to, gave me a list of things that she particularly wanted me to say. None of the things I just said did anyone want me to say. She wanted me to give you these statistics, which are now called talking points. I personally, being very interested in language, prefer to call them statistics so that I could distinguish them from what you might see on Fox News, which are not statistics, but are in fact talking points. The difference between these two things is these are true. Your local Planned Parenthood, this one, has served as an essential provider of affordable health care for 76 years. Now, I was surprised by this because about 5 years ago, Alex Singer, who at one point was the president of Planned Parenthood and who is a friend of mine and is the reason I'm involved in Planned Parenthood to begin with, his grandmother was Margaret Singer. Mine wasn't, so if it wasn't for Alex, I wouldn't have had to be involved. And this was celebrated at the UN, and it was, I thought, 50 years. But apparently it's 50 years of international Planned Parenthood, and 76 years for White Plains. 26 years ahead of the rest of the world. I was very delighted, by the way, to do the thing in the UN. Not that I'm not delighted to be here, but the only reason I did it was not because I like Alex or because I care about Planned Parenthood, but because I was longing for the opportunity to say, I cannot have dinner Wednesday night, I'm giving a speech at the UN. Last year, PPHP provided reproductive and sexual health care services to nearly 37,000 patients who made more than 70,000 visits each. PPH is a leader in education. PPH holds workshops for parents to help them talk to their kids about health, sexuality. That's not easy. That's what it says here. Apparently it's not easy because I'm still waiting for my mother to have this conversation with me. And I'm sure she's still planning it. My father, luckily for him, died a year ago so that he didn't have to do this. There was nothing wrong with him, but he just realized I probably have to have this conversation. I would prefer to die. PPH teaches high school students how to be peer educators. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the word peer means. I mean, I've never really understood what that's supposed to mean. I know what it's supposed to mean, but I've never met one. So they can help their friends make responsible choices. So I guess this is high school kids helping other high school kids making responsible choices. What are the odds of that? And this is expected to happen in just one county? I mean, if there was a global contest for teenage excellent decisions, I don't think there would be any winners. You have to work on that. I mean, it is true that teenagers tell each other things, but that doesn't really come under the category of education. This says this, so they can help their friends make responsible choices that involve life and death. That is exactly why we don't let them make choices. That is why, for instance, say you're a sophomore in high school and you want to buy a house, you can't. You can't sign a contract. There's a reason for that. There is not a person in this room that would want to be contractually bound to a decision they came to at the age of 15. I made horrible decisions when I was 30. You have to change this. They make horrible decisions. It's like an entire age group of George Bushes. Because if you were wondering what he reminded you of, it was a teenager. The reason he incited such rage is because, let's be honest, 14-year-olds, they are unbearable. But usually they don't get to say, and now we're going to war, and now we're... I can't give up George Bush, I'm sorry. PPH works to protect our reproductive freedoms. Last year, approximately 10,000 PPHP advocates mobilized to protect reproductive health care and rights, and I'm sure that includes many of you. And the people that we have to protect against are other American citizens. I mean, that is a kind of shocking thing. That's not kind of shocking. That is shocking. 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 I mean, Barney Frank once said, Republicans, I know there's some good Republicans, I'm sure there are some here. I don't mean you, 3. And he said, Republicans care about life only from conception to birth. After that, you're on your own. Unless you're a bank. I mean, just think of it, unborn bankers. We don't want to protect the unborn bankers. We want to get rid of any possible unborn bankers. PPH is a leader in healthcare delivery, education, and in the policy debate for broader access to family planning and for the right of women and families to determine their own reproductive futures. I really think this right should be confined to women. Not families, women. You say this because you know no one's going to give women a right. So you keep throwing in men and families and children because you know everyone likes them better. But it's not about them, which is why we're still having this fight. I am proud and honored to be part of this celebration today and to help honor 2 outstanding community leaders. Someone else is supposed to come and honor these outstanding community leaders because I don't know them. I live in New York. We don't have any community leaders, outstanding or not. But maybe you don't either. You look to me like an outstanding community leader, but perhaps he isn't. So then I guess we're gonna, if there are no more, you may have changed the schedule. Oh, you did, okay. So now, you have already honored the few outstanding community leaders that you have been able to scare up. So instead, just like the country, we're moving on to gambling. We're having a raffle.